Okay, you're good to go once it hits 5 o'clock.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, my clock says 5 o'clock, so we'll get started. I'd like to call the Education Committee meeting to order, and I appreciate everyone being here this evening. But we're going to change the agenda around just a little bit because we want to accommodate Ms. Tanya Best is with us this evening. She's with the chairman of the Warren County School Board and is going to go ahead and give a report as she is going to have to leave our meeting for another meeting that she's got to attend. So Tanya, if you would you like to share anything from the school board with our committee?
Sure. Thank you for asking me to join you tonight. And as you know, this is a little bit new for me to present to the Education Committee, but I thought it would be something that I would answer any questions that you have, or at least take some questions that you have. And I may defer those to Mr. Swallows, but we will definitely try to get those answered. Just a few things. Our last board meeting was Monday, November the 30th, with all members present. Mr. James Bendit attended by Zoom. Our next scheduled meeting is Thursday, January the 28th, 2021. And I would like to report on our substitute teachers. If you watched our last board meeting, as Mr. Swallows mentioned, we currently, or last week, we had 108 active substitutes, which our goal is to add 3 to 5 substitutes per week. Per ESS, our company that we work with, the goal for Warren County School System is 150 subs. Their ratio is 6 teachers to 1 sub. So I think word of mouth, just letting people know that we desperately need subs, has really helped us increase our subs. I think when Mr. Swallows became director, we were at about 40 subs. So we've really increased our numbers, and I think that's helping our teachers. I'd like to say thank you to school personnel who have spent extra hours working on lesson plans, to teach virtually, to teach in person. Thank you to anyone has been pulled from their normal duties to fulfill a need. School nurses who work tirelessly to contact trace, and our custodial and busing staff. So, that's really all that I have to report. I'll be glad to take any questions that you have.
Does anybody have any questions, particularly for Ms. Best?
Chairman Brown?
Yes, go ahead, Deborah. Sorry.
I'd like to ask Chairman Best, do you still need more subs then, since your goal is 150?
Well, as of last week, our active subs was 108. And that can fluctuate because as people find new jobs, they are not subbing. So yes, we are roughly needing about 40 more subs. That's ESS, the company that we work with. That's their goal for Warren County to have.
Their goal, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Well, thank you very much for joining us this evening, and we'll be in touch with you, and hopefully maybe even be able to attend them. Gosh, that's a long time for the next board meeting.
All right. Hope you all have a great meeting. Thank you so much for asking me.
Thank you.
Bye.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
before you go on, sorry to interrupt. If you guys will take a vote to accept a meeting in the Zoom platform, just to make sure that we're clear on that.
Okay. We are, as you know, we are meeting this evening on the Zoom platform. Do I hear a motion that we accept that we would continue meeting this in this method tonight?
So moved. Robert Hennessy.
A second?
A second. A second.
Okay, we have a motion by Robert Hennessy and a second by David Dunlap. All in favor say aye.
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 Is there any opposed? Thank you very much, and thank you, Ms. Hennessy. The next thing on our agenda is to approve the minutes that we received. You all received our minutes from our last meeting that Commissioner Evans prepared. Do I hear a motion to accept the email as received and to dispense with the reading?
Motion
I
to
make
accept the
motion.
minutes, Robert Hennessy.
I second Philip Stout.
I have a motion by Robert Hennessy and second by Philip Stout. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Unopposed. Motion passes. Next is Mr. Swallows. We have several things to go through on our agenda, and if we will return this over to him to once again give an update on our school system as we are dealing with our with COVID and all the challenges that he has in front of him and how things are going. Mr. Swallows, please.
Thank you, Chairman Brown. So let's just pick up there and kind of piggyback off of what Chairman Best was speaking on and Chairman Brown. Just letting you know, when we met in person last time, I expressed to you my concern about our rising numbers and my concern that we were going to have to go remote. And I believe that was a Monday night meeting. And by that Wednesday, I made the decision to take our high school and middle school to remote learning only there for about a week and a half. And so I would just say that I was very, very pleased with how that went, that both schools in their rising numbers, they just really did a great job of transitioning from in-person instruction to remote learning in both those settings. And just so for your information, basically what we asked students to do at that point, teachers were still coming into the building. They were in their classrooms. We were asking both sets of students at those schools to log on at their class time. And so the way one person put it, if you were standing out in the hallway and you were watching or listening to what was going on in the classroom, you would never know the difference because the teacher was talking into the computer, much like we are doing right now. The students were interacting, so you were hearing their voices. And so while it's not the ideal setting, we felt like that both schools did a very good job with that. Of course, that took us into the Thanksgiving holiday. We did come back to all schools learning in the traditional environment the Monday, November the 30th, which is obviously a week ago tonight, or today or this afternoon. With it being dark outside, it's tonight, I guess. We have done fairly well this past week. I will say that our numbers normalized and leveled out. We expected that with being away from each other for so long. Our elementary school numbers were fairly manageable. I will say that we based on feedback from you all and from our teachers and our parents and our parent advisory group, everyone wanted to know, keep us up to date about where we are. And so we've been releasing a health report on Mondays and Thursdays of each week. And so we just released that this afternoon. And I will just tell you again, we're back. We are experiencing much like what the community is experiencing, and a concerning rise in our numbers. Once again, we are not where we were when we had to make the decision the last time. But again, we are simply concerned about where we are as far as the rise in numbers. Currently, we have 46 students isolated. Again, understand that isolated means positive test. We have 24 staff that are isolated. That relates to about, for students, that's about 0.7% of our student population. It's 1.8% of our staff population. 482 students that are quarantined, which is about 7.9% of our student population. We have 30 staff that's quarantined, which is 2.2% of the population. So again, that number is creeping up there, and something that we hope to be able to keep under control over the course of the next we have obviously 7 days remaining before Christmas break that we're going to keep our eye on to make sure that we're not having pockets of positive tests. Again, we've learned so much from where we were in March, April, and May of last year when when the entire district shut down. Again, I will reiterate our district approach and the approach of a lot of people around us. We're just trying to look for pockets of positive cases and then act accordingly. That's why we had to shut the middle school and or send the high school and middle school to remote, because they had so many positive cases in a short amount of time. We're continuing to look at that. We've got one elementary school that I'm concerned about. We're having positive cases in our staff. And so those are the things that are concerning, and those are the things that we're continuing to watch. Our adult rate of absentee, we look at that. We look at the positivity rate for Warren County. We look at lots of different things when we make decisions like this. And so I will tell you and give you an update that the Tennessee Department of Health and the CDC last week updated their guidance related to the number of days someone has to be in quarantine for a close contact. If you'll remember, before, isolation was 10 days, quarantine was 14 days. They have updated their guidance and recommendations that both of those be 10 days, which to me, I guess, makes more sense, because one of the questions I would get before would be, well, if you're a positive case, you only have to be out for 10 days. If you're healthy and you've only been exposed, why do you have to be out 14 days? We understand that the medical community is saying that that's the incubation period for the virus. But as they learn more, they're updating their guidance. And so we will be moving to that recommendation that if you're a close contact, then you will be quarantined for 10 days. The caveat to that is that something we've not had before is that if a person tests negative for the virus after 7 days in quarantine, then they would be allowed to return to normal activity. We've never had a negative test stipulation in there. And so we're trying to communicate that to our families. It feels extremely, that's a simplistic answer to a very complex situation, but it's an update for how we're doing those things. So I say all those things to say that I feel like a broken record, but I said this in my message to our families last night. I believe education is an imperative for our students. I mean, it is an essential function of our community for our students. And so that's why we are working extremely hard to continue to do what we need to do. With that being said, we can't educate if we are not being safe. And so we are continuing to preach and ask and beg and hope that people will heed this call in our community, in our school buildings, to wear masks, to socially distance as appropriate, to practice safe hygiene, so that we can continue to teach our students the way we know they need to be taught. And so, again, we don't want to make the tough decisions to go to all remote learning, but I do believe that our teachers are prepared for that. I think our students are prepared for that. We are going to continue to watch going forward in the next few days and weeks. You add on top of COVID the possibility of flu. Again, you hear all the medical professionals say, please get your flu shot. We've been asking for that to happen as well. So that's kind of where we are with our school status update. I'd be happy to answer any questions related to that if you have them.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Swallows? Okay, well, thank you very much for that report. This is such challenging times, but I don't know. It's just so unpredictable.
Well, and I appreciate the term you just used, unpredictable. I've had a lot of questions. Well, what do you predict is going to happen? And I've tried to stop doing that, frankly. This is a 24-hour, a day-by-day type decision. And so we're going to continue to look at it that way and try to be as forward-thinking as we can be. But at the end of the day, let's take it day by day and see where we are. we're going to do the best we can to protect our students and our staff. And so appreciate you guys. And I know you all have been very supportive of our decisions and been very supportive of pushing out the word and the information that we've tried to get out. So we're very thankful to have you all to support us.
Chairman Brown,
Yes, go ahead, Ms. Evans.
I don't have a question. I just want again to thank Director Swallows and commend him and the school board. They have been very cautious with our students and our faculty and our staff, and which affects our community. And I would just like to give you all a shout out again and thank you for your dedication. I know you're putting in way more hours than you normally would, and you're facing, like you said, an unpredictable and unprecedented experience. And I just feel like you are directing us safely through this nightmare. So thank you.
Well, thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. And we've got a lot of dedicated folks that love the kids in this community and are really working hard to teach and to educate and to also keep safe, and very thankful for them and all they're doing.
Okay, we'll move on to the financial update.
Can I go back to West? I missed that one. Sorry, I apologize.
So did yeah, I did
missed-
too.
COVID is unfortunately on the front of my brain, but so I missed a bullet point. But let me just give you a quick update about where we are at West Elementary. We are very excited that we're going to have what they call a punch list meeting on December the 18th, which means we're nearing completion of that. And so we feel like substantial work is already completed in that project. And so we will begin a punch list item very, very soon. And we will begin punch list items very, very soon. So if it was just a punch list item, we'd be really excited. But we will work through that. We hope to be functioning up and running at the beginning of 2021. And so they have to, I'm going to show my ignorance when I say this, but the new concrete they had to put down, they had to let it cure for a couple of weeks and make sure there was no moisture that was coming up and before they put the new tile down. And so we still don't know exactly when that's going to be ready, but that's the very last thing that will have to be done as far as major construction goes. And they'll add the tile from there. And so we're excited about that project coming to an end and giving us the opportunity to kind of move on and see some other things we know that need to be done at West and some of our other buildings as well.
Okay.
So I'll just move right on, if that's okay, to school budget financial update. It seems like I've talked about that quite a bit with our teacher bonuses. Thank you all very much for your support of that. Thank you to the county commission for, and again, I want to be very careful. I said this several times. We never in the school system intended for that to be you put you in the crosshairs of having to approve that or not. Basically, the school system just needed you to approve the money going from one account to the other so that we could pay that out. It somewhere got convoluted in there that the county commission had to approve that, which you do have to approve the money. And I appreciate very much that you all recognize the hard work of our teachers and staff and did approve that budget amendment so that we could pay that out. We hope to see that. Well, we are going to see that go out with their December checks. And we're very excited about that. We feel pretty good about where we are. I talked to our compliance manager today, and she basically made the statement that no major concerns at this point. I will say in our last budget meeting or our last board meeting, we did move some money around in our CARES Act money to make more money available for substitutes, simply because we are seeing more substitutes having to be used. That is an allowable and expense out of the CARES Act money. And so we felt like we needed to be proactive in that. nothing would give me greater pleasure than for us to come back in 2021 and see the number of people missing go down, and for us not to need that money, but we wanted to make sure that it was there if we did that, and CARES Act allows us to do that. So we feel pretty good about where we are. Cautiously optimistic. I want to let you know if you have any input with our local legislators. I would ask you to encourage them to consider what Governor Lee is hopefully going to put before them as a hold harmless year for our BEP, which basically means the state next year would fund every school system based on the BEP number for last year, for the ADM from last year. Every school system that I'm aware of has seen a drop in our attendance. And obviously, school systems are funded by the state based on our attendance and our ADM, average daily membership. And so there have been several committees that have recommended to the governor that he hold school systems harmless next year based on ADM. The legislature would have to support that. And so we are asking them to do that. Obviously, that would be a major concern for us. I will tell you, we're about 115, 120 students down from where we were last year. And when you multiply that by about $8,000 we get for every student, you don't have to be a math major to understand that would be a major concern for us budget wise. And so we believe that the hold harmless year will come through. But we're asking our state legislators locally to support that, as I know that many of our support organizations are doing as well. So that would be the part.
What's the timeline for that decision to be made?
Well, of course, the legislature will come into session in the spring. We assume, and so that would be the time that they would consider that. There is a statewide BEP committee. And they have recommended that to the governor, and he has spoken positively about that. I don't foresee that not happening, but until somebody puts it on paper that it was approved, I'm gonna continue to advocate for it.
Okay.
Arlene?
Yes,
Ms. Brown,
Robert.
if I may ask a question, please. It's Robert Hennessy.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Hennessy.
Director Swallows?
Yes, sir.
Could you email Carlene your request? So if we do reach out individually to our state representatives, that we will have the right information to solicit from them.
Absolutely. I'll be happy to do
Fulfill
that.
your directive.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
I would be very glad to do that.
And the next thing on the agenda is the calendar of events that's coming up with the schools. If
Okay.
you could review that.
Just to give you an update, of course, we are December 7th. Our semester is scheduled to come to a close next Friday, the 18th. That is obviously our Fridays are remote days, but that's also scheduled to be an abbreviated day, which basically means in the school system, it's an hour and a half day. On that Friday, we would be closed for a couple of weeks, obviously for the Christmas holiday. We come back on January the 4th with teachers and staff only. That's a professional development day. So students would come back on January the 5th and go throughout the month of January. One of the things that I really want to highlight in the calendar of events is that today we did reopen our enrollment for VIP at home. If you'll remember, we've done that 2 previous times, and understand that it's very important work that we do that, and we communicate with our families that if they are interested in VIP at home, that they contact their schools and let them know that. If a student is already enrolled in VIP at home and everything's going well, they will remain there. They don't have to do anything. But if a student is in traditional in-person learning and wants to go VIP, then they need to contact the person at the school. It's listed on our website with that information there. We also are taking students that want to go from VIP back to traditional school. Again, those students would need to contact the same person at that school building to let them know. I say that we have to have this window because that really changes some of the assignments we have for our teachers, because if we have some go many go VIP, then we've got to reorganize how we are structured. And so people get frustrated with us when they call in 2 weeks and say, hey, I want to go VIP. And I have to say, I'm sorry, we've already made that decision. That enrollment is closed. And so we want to make sure that all of our families are hearing that. We've put that out on our website, our social media. We send it to all the media outlets locally. I did a school messenger call last night. But again, you can help us by putting that out there. If anybody's interested in going VIP at home, then we want them to contact the people that are listed on the information sheet. Now, let me say this, a couple caveats. We've learned over 6 months that remote learning is not for everyone. All right. It's not easy. Okay. And so some students have really struggled with that and gotten behind in their work. And so we've had to make the decision to bring them back to school to try to catch them up. If that's happened, we're not allowing that student to go VIP at home again. Furthermore, if a student is failing in-person learning, we are not allowing them to go VIP at home either, simply because we're trying to do the best we can to make sure that they're still learning and getting the education that they need. So we've learned a lot in this program, but it's a very important calendar date. It began this morning at 8 a.m. It will close this Thursday at 3 p.m. And so anybody watching, anybody listening, anybody that is interested, I would encourage you to reach out to your zone school before Thursday at 3 p.m. if you're interested in VIP at home, or if you've been VIP and want to come back to traditional learning setting, then please reach out to your school.
Okay. Does the last thing on here was the academic review, which I think you kind of just hit on, but do you want to add anything there?
Well, I'll just for your information, again, going back to the state legislature, Governor Lee, and I think we've talked about this, Carlene, if we haven't, forgive me. I've talked to so many different groups, I can't remember what I've said to who, but the governor did come out in support of removing any with our state testing, removing anything that would harm our teachers or our schools. Again, he came out in support of that. We are still going to test, but there should, we follow his plan, there will be no accountability that happens for our schools or our teachers in a year where a worldwide pandemic is happening. Now, just because he said that doesn't mean it's in law. The legislature has to pass that. We believe that to be the right thing this year, to take some of the pressure off of our teachers and our students. And so that would be the academic update, I believe, or academic review that we have. But the thing that I want to say is we've got some great teaching going on. I mean, that's what makes me so proud. I mean, the days when I sit in here at my desk and I want to beat my head on the desk because all we talk about is COVID and are we going to be in school? And then when I get out of this, we get out from behind this desk and I go to the schools and I see the teachers doing all the things that they're doing and the kids doing what they're doing. That's what gives you hope and that we're doing the right things, because we've got some great instruction going on. We did adopt a new ELA curriculum this year, or English language arts curriculum this year. And our teachers are spending a lot of time getting involved with that and figuring it all out. And so just because we've got a lot of sickness going on and other things going on doesn't mean that we're not teaching And so excited about that, excited about the progress our folks are making. And, I hope nothing more than in December of next year, we're talking all about that and not about a virus.
Oh, wouldn't that be great? Does anyone else have anything they want to ask Mr. Swallows at this time? Is there any other business that would be brought before the committee tonight?
Ms. Brown, if I may speak, Robert
You
Hennessy.
certainly- Yes, Mr. Hennessy, go ahead.
I would like to just personally thank Deborah Evans for the outstanding job that she does as secretary. It's amazing to me how thorough and precise she is on her notes and how informative they are, and what a great reference point to go back to. And kudos to you, Deborah, and I appreciate your efforts. Thank you very much. I know it's hard to do. I've done it once, and my notes pale in comparison to what you're capable of doing. Thank you so very much, Deborah. We appreciate that.
You're
That is
welcome.
all.
You're welcome, and thank you very much.
I totally agree with him, Ms. Evans. He was talking to me about that today, and I said she could have a part-time job if she would go out there and tell companies when they have their board of directors meetings or their co-ops, doing that. You just do such a good job, and we do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, but no one else, or we will adjourn. If I hear a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All
Philip.
right. I have a motion from Mr. Stout and a second from Mr. Dunlap. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you
Aye.
all very much for attending tonight. And Merry Christmas to all of you. I do hope you get to enjoy some time with your small groups with your social distancing.
Amen.
Merry
Amen.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thank you all.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.